Good morning. Welcome. Today is, what day is it? Tuesday, April 14th. And today is day 14 of 30 days of vanilla JavaScript. I'm getting tired. How are you doing? And we're only at the halfway point, but I'm okay. I'm here for it. I've never streamed this many days in a row before. I think the most I've ever done is like 6 days in a row, and I thought that was brutal when I did it. So yeah, we're just about at the halfway point. I am having so much fun, despite being a little tired and a tiny bit cranky. I am having a lot of fun. First of all, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Angela. I am a front-end developer and a software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on this channel, we do all vanilla, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And I decided that I wanted to do something called the 30 Days of Vanilla JavaScript because JavaScript is the one thing that I struggle the most with. And oh my gosh, the last 2 weeks have been, I don't mean to be dramatic, but I do mean to be a little bit dramatic, have been kind of transformational. It's just so many things have started clicking into place for me. Obviously, I still have so much to learn, so much to get comfortable with, but it's been incredible. So I'm more than happy with the progress that I've made over the last 2 weeks, and I'm excited to see what we do over the next 2 weeks. So that being said, if you would be so kind as to like this video if you haven't yet. It helps the algorithm, helps get this pushed out to more people who might be interested in this type of content. Subscribe if you aren't already. Normally, if I'm not doing a 30-day sprint, I'm here 4 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Give or take, sometimes I'm about 15 or so minutes late, like today. It happens. It's just how, there's no HR department here. There's nobody to scold me if I'm late. So if I need a few extra minutes, I just go ahead and take them. Yeah, that's what I do. Malik Robinson is our mod in the chat. He left a little message though, basically saying that he has a meeting this morning and that we are to behave ourselves. So it's just you and me, and anything could happen until he gets back. He put a message that I pinned at the top here, which is that I'm trying to do more focused work, meaning that if I don't acknowledge you right away in the chat, I will periodically take breaks and check to see what people are talking about. But also, as the chat grows, people are talking amongst themselves more and more, and I need to let that happen, right? Nano Akia is also here. Good morning, Nano Akia. Happy to have you. He's giving me the side eye. That's okay. I don't mind a little side eye. Oh, although I did post, I don't post a ton on Instagram. By the way, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, Angela J. Holden. Last night, Heidi, my dog, was giving me the side eye, and I got a picture of it. She gives me the side eye like 25 times a day. If it wasn't for the fact that I feed her, I don't even know if she would really like me all that much. She's a sweet dog, but she's like happy to just do her own thing also. So I posted last night on Instagram that Heidi was giving me the side eye. So I don't know. Nano Kia, you follow me on Instagram. I was wondering if that's a reference to that. Either that or you're just giving me the side eye, which is totally fine. I'm used to that. So okay, Angela, focus. Malik did share the link in the chat. I'm going to put it in again for day 14, which is scroll interactions. And I don't have anything pulled up here. Let me see. We're on the live site. Let me get our stuff pulled up. I'm not ready. As per usual. Day 14, scroll interactions. Yesterday was copy to clipboard. I enjoyed it. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. It's not the copy to clipboard exactly. It's more the problem solving. I love the problem solving. And yesterday was a really fun problem solving day. Oh, and Nano Kia says, yes, he was referring to Heidi and he liked it too. Thank you. I appreciate that. She's my little sweet pea. She's my little sweet pea puppy dog. She likes me. I think she likes me. So I've had her since she was 8 weeks old. She doesn't know anybody else but me. So, but she's just, I see other people with dogs, like especially, I see this is the problem with social media, right? Comparing ourselves to other people. I'm right there. As soon as I started, the words came out of my mouth, I knew it was a mistake to even think like this. I see other people on social media who have like these really like loving snuggly dogs, and I'm like, my dog doesn't do that. But none of my Shelties have done that. I've always had Shelties. That's not the kind of dog they are. So I have to stop wishing that I was going to get that, because I'm not. They're just not like that. They're independent. They're a bit aloof. They all have given me the side eye 25 times a day. Heidi is not unique. So, okay. Back to the actual thing that we're doing here. Let's see what our requirements are for today. Nano Kia says, I was like, Angela, no, don't clear the copy history, but I loved the outcome. See, that's the great thing about problem solving, right? Is I had to go through that process of like rationalizing that. And I did have somebody in the chat say to me, you shouldn't do that to the user. And I did go back and have a conversation with ChatGPT afterwards. In fact, let's just take a look at it because I think this would be a great review. I did go back with ChatGPT afterwards and say, okay, I had this really fun moment where I had to go through this process where initially I was like, oh, we need to clear the history. And I had to walk through that and rationalize through that. So I was super excited with the solution that I came up with. ChatGPT praised me as well. I did forget this return statement here on my guard, so I added that afterwards. But otherwise, I got a full thumbs up from ChatGPT, which ChatGPT is always trying to refactor my code. So although I've given it enough coaching now to be like, hey, stop trying to tell me. You have to let me learn. Just stop giving me code. So yeah, I absolutely loved this, where we just did this series of set timeouts to remove and then reset attributes. And it was the problem solving. I mean, I do think copy to clipboard is cool, and it didn't even ever occur to me that that was a thing that we would work on with JavaScript. It makes sense now. But the problem solving, that's the best part of this. It's not that I was ever dying to create a task list. I wasn't. I don't give a shit about task lists. I understand though, why it's such an important exercise. Form validation states, I was like, absolutely not. I don't want to deal with that at all. In fact, I really just didn't understand the difference between providing a good user experience and security. What this exercise did, we should do like a whole debrief at the end of this, but allow me to digress a little bit, because there are things here that have just been kind of transformational for me over the last couple of weeks. Form validation states, Malik Robinson, Gogo Elmo was like, I'm really looking forward to that. And I was like, really? Why? Why do we care about this? And it's because I've been afraid of forms, intimidated by forms, because I always thought that validation was about security, keeping the forms secure. And it's not that I want to make them insecure necessarily. It's just that I didn't fully understand the difference between client side being the user experience and server side being the security. And I understand that now. And I think it's so cool that I had that experience, and I get it now. I know how to check for form validation. So I don't know, just everything about this has just been such a cool experience. Yeah, I wish I had done it sooner. I don't think it's productive to spend a lot of time thinking about things that I wish I had done, 5 years ago, whatever. I'm doing it now. And how cool is it that I'm at the place that I am as a front-end developer, where I think that I am very, very good at building UIs. I have a deep understanding of accessibility. I know how to make things responsive. I've chosen to go down this sort of dev niche of being all vanilla, which I will tell you from the moment I wake up till the moment I go to bed is the right thing to do. Now think of everything I'm going to be able to do with this extra layer of JavaScript knowledge, how much better these builds are going to be, how much more fun and interactive they're going to be. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really cool. So there's that. Okay. All right. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. All right, let's this is the production site. So let's get back to, let's go ahead and fire up the old live server. We'll figure out what today's requirements are. Yeah. Okay, this drives me crazy. Why does this happen sometimes where the cursor will not change to a pointer? This has to do, I've gotten so far as figuring out that it has to do with me moving a tab from one monitor to another. See, and it won't even open over here. There, now it's working. Yeah, it's annoying. So, and it doesn't have anything to do with cursor pointer. So, there, now we're getting the correct pointer. I'll move this up. Okay, scroll interactions. So build scroll-based interactions that reveal a back to top button after the user scrolls down and hide or reveal the site header based on scroll direction. Okay, so we need to read the scroll position, storing the previous scroll position. I don't like this word, storing. Comparing values to determine direction, toggling classes based on thresholds, handling the scroll event cleanly, keeping state simple and predictable. Nice extras. Use a small threshold before hiding the header. Add a transition so the header movement feels smooth. Okay. Add a class to the body or target elements instead of setting inline styles. Of course, I do not ever do inline styles if I can avoid them. Make the back to top button keyboard accessible, of course. Make the button an anchor or button with clear text. Make the button an anchor or button with clear text. Clear as in just like readable text. I see clear and I'm like, am I supposed to clear something? I think that means readable. Separate the logic for the header and the back to top button so each piece is easier to reason about. Only run the feature if the relevant elements exist. Okay, so let's start. There's two things that we're supposed to do. The back to top button after the user scrolls down and hide or reveal the site header based on scroll direction. Let's start with the back to top button after the user scrolls down. So we know what class list is. We know what add event listener is. What's scroll? Y. And scroll to top. That feels self-explanatory, but you never can tell, right? Scroll to, wait a second. Scroll top to. I was putting a P in there. It's just scroll to, okay? Windows scroll to scrolls to a particular set of coordinates in the document. Scroll to XY, okay? And then, or options. The pixel along the horizontal axis of the document that you want displayed in the upper left, okay? The pixel along the vertical axis of the document that you want displayed in the upper left. So everything starts in the upper left, okay? Options. Oh, good. An object containing the following properties. So it's either or. You either have X, Y, or you have options. An object containing the following properties specifies the number of pixels along the y-axis to scroll the window or element. Left specifies the number of pixels along the x-axis to scroll the window or element. Behavior determines whether scrolling is instant or animates smoothly. This option is a string which must take one of the following values: smooth, instant, auto. Okay. Scroll to 0 or 1000. So this is just one example, and this is just another example. These aren't supposed to be the same thing. Okay, so window scroll to top 100, left 100, behavior smooth. Why would you be scrolling horizontally? Don't you just scroll up or down? I would like to see an actual example. Okay, well, I guess let's try scroll Y. Not sure which one I'm supposed to use, but the read-only scroll Y property of the window interface returns the number of pixels by which the document is currently scrolled vertically. This value is subpixel precise in modern browsers, meaning that it isn't necessarily a whole number. You can get the number of pixels the document is scrolled horizontally from the scroll X property. Make sure and go down to the second page. If window scroll Y, window scroll 00, reset the scroll position to the top left of the document. I've used these things before, but none of this documentation makes sense. What's the Beetlejuice line? It reads like stereo instructions. That's what I think sometimes when I'm reading MDN. Okay, so let's just try something and see what happens. That's going to be the best way to go. Scrolls to a particular set of coordinates. Let's just do something like this. So wait a second. You click a button. So you do like click a button, add event listener, and then window scroll to. That must be it. So if we put a button here, okay, well, let's try that. So here's our scroll interactions. Let's just put a button here. Type equals button. Class equals button. And then we'll just say scroll. What are we going to do? We'll do scroll to. I guess I just need to experiment and try it because I don't know what's going to happen. So we'll just do that. And then we'll do function init scroll interactions. And oh, this is the wrong class. And then we'll check to make sure that root is here. And then we'll get our button. So then I guess we'll do button. Oops. Add event listener. Why aren't you auto-completing? window scroll to top left behavior. Okay, window scroll to top 100 left 100. It's a comma. Behavior smooth. So is this going to scroll? So I think this is going to scroll to what, 100. I just don't understand the left because there's no like horizontal scroll. So is it literally just scrolling to? Well, technically this right here where my mouse is the top left. And the header is 80 pixels, so I would expect it to scroll to about right here, just right in between the header. Well, where the header currently sits. So I don't have any errors, so I guess that's good. All right. Oh, every day, every single day. Oh, query selector, hang on. That's why it wasn't completing. Okay. Nothing happened. Let's see. Sorry, that's a grammatically incorrect. It's clicked. Oh, so our event isn't, wait, what did I do wrong here? Oh, root right here. Probably want to scope to the root, right? Yeah. Smooth is not defined. Behavior, oh, it's a string. Got it. Look at all the problem solving. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Okay, so here's what I kind of like about that. So we know that there's a very, I'm going to call it, it's a clean solution in HTML. You can have the property, what is it? Scroll behavior smooth. That's a CSS property, and it's easy to link to things within a document just using HTML and CSS. And that CSS property, I think, is relatively new. It used to be that it would just jump. So I use that all the time, but you always get that little thing that's appended onto the URL. But some people really like that because some people use that for link building and they want to put those links in other pages for in-site navigation, right? Inner navigation amongst the site, and they want that page to scroll to that point. But if you didn't want that and you wanted to keep a clean URL, I mean, this is a pretty good solution. So I don't understand the 100 by 100 though. Like what? So where is that actually scrolling to? So we're just scrolling. Are we saying that this from here to here is 100 pixels? That's what we're saying? So it ends up being right there. Okay. So So what happens if you, can I do this? Scrolling equals. And then can I console log the scroll? Why is there something on my neck? Why does my neck feel like, I feel like something is just touching me. Feels weird. Okay. I'm so confused about what's actually happening here. So can I console log the scrolling so I can see it with my eyeballs? What is actually happening here? Undefined. Okay. Undefined and unsatisfying. Okay. So what happens if this is just 0, 0? Does it just go literally all the way to the top? We don't need this. Okay, so it must be that it just is stopping 100 pixels short. I don't think this left matters. Honestly, I think that can stay 0. So if I change this to 500, okay, so basically it's just stopping. Okay, so we don't need to overthink this that much. Okay, so when we don't want to do this when we click a button. We want to show a button on scroll. So that must be the scroll Y. So I bet that this scroll 2 is more for that disappearing header. I'm guessing. Because the assignment was not click a button and scroll. The assignment was scroll and then show a button. So is the event that you're scrolling? Add event listener. So if window scroll Y, make sure and go down. So this is an actual behavior. So what happens if I do, okay, let's just take this out and just think about scroll Y. So console log okay, so yeah, I think Nanokia is saying you can omit left if you are not using it too. Same with top if you are doing horizontal scrolling. Yeah, that is starting to make sense. Thank you for confirming that. Okay, I'm gonna console log scroll Y because will that log something? Is that gonna log like math or values or pixels? That's what I'm wondering. So if I'm scrolling, so it just says 0. Okay, so we're looking for an event listener, which makes me think, should I look up event listeners here? Is there like a scrolling event listener? Is there like a list? Scrolling event listener. Scroll event. That sounds handy. The scroll event fires when the document has been scrolled. To detect when scrolling has completed, see the scroll end event of document. scroll is what I want. So let's just do, I don't need this. So we probably want window add event listener scroll. Then can I console log? Window dot scroll y. Oh, look at that. I think we have our answer. Okay. Beautiful. Perfect. So window, add event listener, scroll Y. So can I specify a value? So if scroll Y equals 50, so let's make a button that floats. Where are we going to put it? Well, it would be fixed. So let's do this. If scroll Y 50, let's just make sure that we can console log this. If scroll Y 50, so once we get past the 50 pixel mark, let's do 100, since we know what that looks like. 100 px. So we'll console log that. No. So I don't think that this is the window scroll Y. No. Don't tell me. It's a number, right? Oh, here it is. Right there. Oh, Angela, hang on. No, that's right. So why did it only console log with that one? Do I have to say const I'm going to call it the set point equals window scroll Y $100? Wait a second. Scroll Y property. Wait, is it an XY? Scroll Y returns the Y coordinate of the top of the page. So probably we want to do not equals 100. That. right? I did it wrong. So it's not equals 100. So if the scroll Y is 100, then we console log it. Okay. We're so close. Hang on. Let's go back. Window. So does this, if window scroll, make sure and go, so this is, does this only return true or false? The read-only scroll Y property of the window interface returns the number of pixels. So it's just returning something. It doesn't take a value. Okay, we're back. We're back. Um, Here we are. Okay, give me a second. We're back. Heidi is a little worked up. Got my blood flowing. Um Dante is here. Hello. Dante is here. Magic Man Spud is back. Thank you so much. Yeah, honestly, I was thinking that it was just a matter of time before the fire alarms went off during a live stream because it happens here sometimes. So, here we are. Okay, what were we doing? Scroll Y. I need to console log. Well, I know how to console log scroll Y, but how do I actually get the value, right? So maybe it's more like if scroll Y okay. Can you lay down, Heidi? Yeah. You're okay. I just don't understand how to, if it returns a value, then how do I get it? Like, how do I get the value? So, um, yes, she is drinking out of an old Walmart salsa jar because it's a cool jar. I like it. I like my jars. Okay, so let's do this. How to console log scroll Y. Okay, so you can only console log. Oh, let's go back here. You can only console log the thing. How do I window versus element, window scroll Y or its alias window page offset. Tracks the scroll of the entire page. If you need the position of a specific scrollable div, use element scroll top instead. Okay. So I don't get it. Is window scroll Y only to detect scrolling? If it returns a value, how do I get the freaking value? Or how do I say, how to get or set specific value of scroll Y? In modern web development, you can get the vertical scroll position using window scroll Y property, but you must use the window to scroll method to set it as scroll Y as a read-only property. Scroll position, window scroll Y. Because window scroll Y cannot be assigned a new value directly, you use methods to move the viewport to specific coordinates. Instant scroll, okay. Smooth scroll. Yep, we understand that. Relative scroll. If you're trying to get or set the scroll position, what is the point of returning the number of pixels on scroll Y if I can't check like if scroll Y equals this number of pixels? So I had triple equals. Is that why it didn't work? I should have done if scroll. Okay, let's try this. If scroll Y equals 100. What happens if I do that? No. If window scroll Y equals allows you to execute code precisely when the user has scrolled exactly 100 pixels down from the document. So this is saying that this is right. Isn't this what I did? If window scroll Y equals 100, console log, yeah. This is what I did. Whoops. Oh my God, Heidi, you have to go lay down. Yeah, you have to lay down. Okay. But it won't always be 100. Read part 2. Okay. Common use case. Oh, okay. Strictly checking for equals 100 might fail if the user... Okay. Greater than 100. Greater than 100. Okay. I have that problem a lot, don't I? I stop reading when I should continue to read. There we go. So now it's like doing everything past 100. Okay, but that I get it now. Okay, I get it now. So I have to check and see if the scroll Y position is greater than 100, not if I'm landing on exactly 100 pixels. Got it. Okay. So this is what we need to add our back to top button, right? So once we scroll past 100 pixels, we're going to add a button. Yeah. I get a little anxious and I don't want to continue to read. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our button. Let's take this button out of, well, although we could just do hidden, we don't have to create every single element. Let's just hide this, right? So we'll hide the button, and then this will be, we'll say scroll to top. And then we'll style this scroll to, we'll just call it scroll top. So we'll go ahead and style this button, but let's at least get this working first. I'm going to use the hidden attribute because I don't think that we have to create every single element. And then let's borrow this. And I get it now. And then we'll say button, remove attribute, hidden. Else Can I just do else, or do I have to do... I think we can just do add attribute. Or set attribute. Okay, so let's do a couple of quick styles because we're going to need to see that button down here. So let's do some fixed positioning for that button real quick. Let's see here. Do it right here. No, that's not what I wanted. Scroll to top. I'm going to make this position, oops. Position fixed, bottom, 2 rems, whoops. Oh my gosh. Bottom 2 rems, right 2 rems. So now that button needs to do something, right? So that's probably where we do the button itself. So now we've got, that's actually kind of cool. I like that. Okay. So now we want to make sure that it actually, when you click the button, now we do this, right? So we have 2 event listeners, one to show the button and one to actually scroll back to the top. So we inadvertently did part 2 of this, and I think we could just do 0. So top 0, we don't need left because there's no horizontal scroll, right? Look at that. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, I like that. And I like using the hidden attribute so we don't have to constantly create elements. Okay, so what's the next assignment? So the next assignment, it's so adorable. I love it. Okay, so the next assignment is, okay, this is making sense now. The next assignment is that we need to, on scroll, transition this header out of the way. So for that, I am going to use a class because that is something that I would definitely do with CSS. Yeah. And I think also it said, what else did it say here? Make the back to top button keyboard accessible. It is keyboard accessible. Yep, that's keyboard accessible. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense. Its placement in the DOM right now makes a lot of sense. So if I was building this from scratch, I would put this in a place. I would probably put it at, I mean, if we have a skip nav button, if we're skipping to content, and it immediately shows up, I mean, you wouldn't want it to be the first thing that gets focus, right? Although, does it need to be keyboard accessible? So what are they saying here? Make the back to top button keyboard accessible. So we did that. There's probably other things that we would have to think about, right? If somebody's using the back to top button to scroll back to the top of the screen, then is something at the top of the screen getting focused then? What's the next thing to get focused? So back to top. Yeah, it's not, the next thing to get focused is still coming after the scroll to top button. So if you're doing scroll to top, you probably want to make sure what's the next thing that should get focus. I mean, it's not really part of the assignment, but I think you would have to take that into consideration. We met the requirements of the assignment, but what you have to like make the next thing, you have to decide what the next thing is that should be focused. That's what really makes the scroll to top button accessible, right? I think so. Let's work on the header, and maybe if we have time. I mean, even with the fire alarm, we're still only about an hour in, so we might actually have time to do like if we're going to scroll to top, we could just give something focus, right? Let's just do it. Let's just give something focus. The focus method. I think, doesn't this just take like a value? Yeah, so what do we want to have focus after you scroll to the top? The skip nav? Do we want the skip nav to have focus after scrolling to the top? Or maybe the thing that has focus, well, but the titles don't get focus. I think it should just be the logo. If you're scrolling to the top, maybe you start over again. So what is that? That's the primary. It's a link. So it's the primary logo anchor element. So let's just do logo equals, it's going to be document query selector, primary logo anchor element. Primary dash logo anchor element. So on click, we would scroll, and then we would say the logo gets focus. Right? There it is, it got focus. No, it didn't. Well, it did get focus. We just didn't see the outline, but it did get focus. There, now it got focus. Yeah, I think that's the right way to deal with that. So now it's accessible and the thing at the top of the page actually gets focus. So I think that's the right way to deal with that. For accessibility, the back to top button, in my opinion, should be the last tabbable item in the DOM, with any long content having its own back to top button that switches to the next item moving to more content. Yeah, you would definitely have to take that into account. So we could just take this, right? It's not going to be scoped anymore, but that's fine. We can change that. So we could just take it and put it the last tabbable item in the DOM. So we could just put it right here. There. Now it's the last tabbable item. This is no longer root, but that's fine. We may not want to we need to adjust this. I don't think we need to, I think we can just check for the button, right? We'll just check for the button. I don't think we need to worry about scoping because it's just a button. So I'm going to take that out. Okay, so we'll test this now. So I'm going to skip to content. What do we think? I feel very good about this. And if I go past it, I go back up to the new tab. So that's now, we know it's the last thing in the DOM. Now we scroll back to top, and the first thing in the DOM is now focusable. I love it. To me, that's good behavior. I like that. All right. Nice. Cool. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is, I think also, what did it say here? Separate the logic for the header and the back to top buttons so each piece is easier to reason about. So I think that might mean separate functions, right? So let's rename these. We'll call this scroll to top. And then let's do a new function for the header. And I'm actually going to put that first. Function init on scroll header. And on scroll header. Stop. Okay. So for the header on scroll, I'm going to say 50 pixels. We're doing 100 pixels for our scroll to top button. So I'm going to say at 50 pixels. Well, let's check first. Let's make sure that we have a header, right? This is a good one. I am enjoying this. Document, query selector, header. So we'll check and make sure that we've got our header. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to say window, add event listener, scroll, and if the window scroll Y is greater than 50, I think we should just toggle. Toggling classes based on thresholds. So we'll say header, actually I'm going to do the body. So I'm going to put it on the body. Body equals document dot body, and then we'll say body class list toggle. Can we toggle inside an if statement like that? Hang on, I think we have to I don't think you can toggle because this is only going to happen if it's past 50. So does it mean literally toggling classes based on thresholds? Because the easiest way to do this is to just add scroll active, else body class list remove scroll active, and then everything else is just done with CSS. So that works. Yeah. How else would I toggle that? There's probably a way to do it. And I think that's all we need. We don't need scroll 2. The scroll 2 is just for the button. So I'm good with this. It makes sense to me. So let's go ahead and style our header to go with the scroll active. I don't know how that's going to look. I didn't really design the header to do that, but I guess the thing is this is sticky, so we'll find out how that goes. I don't know what's going to happen. Right now, this is display flex position sticky. I guess it's 80 pixels high, so minus 80 pixels. We're going to, if the and I think we want to do a little bit of a delay, and we're going to also have to change the position of this, right? So we have a little bit of styling to do, which is completely fine. This also has a top of 0. So yeah, okay, we got this. We got this. So let's go back to our header. here's our header. So it's scroll active. So we'll do scroll active is the body class header. So we're going to change, we know the height of the header happens to be 80 pixels. I didn't set it to that. That's just what it happens to be. So we'll change the top to -80. And then we have to give this a transition. So we're going to say we're going to transition. Should we use top or should we use translate? We should use translate, right? Yeah. So we'll set translate, transform. It's actually transform. Translate X. We're going to set this to 0. And then we'll transform. 300 milliseconds. For this, I'm going to do linear. And then this would be transform, translate, X minus 80 pixels. Oh, wait, Y, not X. Oopsies. That was kind of cool though, right? What do we think of that? Now we have to do the navigation at the same time. So it's right here. We're going to do scroll active, navigation. And I'm going to do the same thing here. We'll go ahead and use transform, translate Y, set that to 0, and then we can do transform, translate Y, again -80 pixels, and then we'll go ahead and transition that. I mean, I feel like, should there be a transition? I don't know if there should be a transition. Well, I don't know if there needs to be a transition or if it just needs to move. Yeah, we'll transition it. Transform, 300 milliseconds, linear. What? I effing love it. So the transition of the header and the navigation moves at the same time. Stop it. I'm so into this. And we have to make sure that we're accounting for this space here, because this is, let's see here, where are we? Where are you? So this has a height of, let's see here, 100 dVh. So we are going to have to, I think we're just going to have to calculate this. 100 plus 80. Yeah, I think we're going to have to, and we don't have to transition that. You can't transition height anyways, but I think we have to account for that. Well, obviously we have to account for that. I don't know if this is going to work. We're going to find out. 100 dVh plus 80 pixels. So this calculation should happen instantly. We would never really see it or be bothered by it. That clearly didn't work. Okay, I have to think about this. So we're moving. So I think we have to change the top. I think we have to change the top. Hang on. It'll come to me. Magic Man Spud, gotta go. Have fun. Thank you for checking in. Appreciate it. And Nanokia says, I think it's the padding, not the height. I don't think it's the padding. But I'm always prepared to be wrong. Yeah, it's not the padding. It's the height. I'm adding padding to the bottom and it's not getting bigger. So what if instead of 100 dVH, I just did 100%? So it's, hang on. Yeah, the container is getting bigger. It's just not. Oh, hang on. Flex start. This should be stretch. No. Well, it should be stretch. I still think that this needs to go back to being 0. Okay, so Angela, think about this. If the header was gone, I think it's the flex container. I think the flex container needs to be stretch, which it is. Oh, there it is. Hang on, what did I just do? I don't even know what I just did. Hang on. Okay, here's what I did, I think. I have to be very careful. I don't want to refresh my screen right now because it's going to go away. So I took off the scroll active. I set the top position to 0. We have transform translate Y. I don't even think we need this. I just set this to 0 and set it to stretch and set this to 100%. And there is nothing specific for scroll active. Although we're not really getting this inner scroll in this container anymore. Probably because of height 100. So if I go back to DVH, dynamic viewport height, now we're getting our scroll. Okay, so we need to set our flex container. First of all, let's find that, flex container. And instead of align items flex start, we want it to be stretch. Now let's go back to our navigation right here. We don't need this. We want this to be 0. I don't think we need this. And I think that can stay the same. So I think stretch is the key. Stretch is what makes this work, and I had flex start. There we go. So the key to making that work is flex is align item stretch. And we didn't need any transition because this just moves with the container. And there it is. Nice. What do we think? So we only needed, so here's what I want to see. I want to see how this behaves. This makes so much more sense with the align items being stretched on the flex container. I would like to see without this, without that. I just want to make sure that I still see this working correctly. So let's compare it to the production site. Yeah, it doesn't work quite the same, does it? See, I can scroll over here and this stays like this. And that's not working here. Hang on, we're going to figure it out. We got plenty of time. I spent a lot of time on this, making sure that this looked a very specific way, that this functioned a specific way, and I don't want that to change. So that's not what I want to have happen here. So we are going to do some transitions on the navigation. So now that we know how to control the height and the background, and we're happy with what's happening here on the body, let's spend a little extra time on the navigation now that we understand it a bit better. And this is also the great thing about having a production site that is unblemished. All right, so let's go back down to our navigation. Right here. Okay, so I am going to go back to 80. That's the difference right there, the 80. There we go. Right there. Okay. So scroll active, navigation. What do we want to do? Just top 0. I think we have to do top 0, but I think we have to transition the transform. I think that's the right way to do it. And I think that'll work timing wise, but we'll see here. Translate y0. I'm not sure. We'll find out. So we change top immediately, but we transition the transform. It's the transform that yeah, we can't use transform. It's going to mess with our stuff. So we're going to transition the top. You're not really supposed to do that. I don't think it's the end of the world. It's a more modern approach to make sure that you're transitioning a transform, not a top, but that's the behavior that I want right there. So interesting. The transform gave us some troubles with this. Yeah. I mean, what if instead of going what if instead of going to 0, we double it and go down to make up for that size? No. Okay, we're just gonna stick with. We're just gonna do the thing that we know works. Yep. So, this only works on this page. Should we do this site-wide? If we do this site-wide, we have to copy and paste this. I have to do some refactoring. So I think I'm going to work on a little refactoring here. I don't know if I'm going to do it today. I'm going to work on some refactoring because I just recently have learned I've recently learned that type module is the preferred way to handle some of these things, and then you get the benefit of being able to import components. Just keep things way more organized. I've been doing defer and DOM content ready for a long time. So emotionally, I'm having trouble getting over that because I'm just so used to it. Yeah. So maybe this will just be fine on this page for now, until I get around to it, right? I do like it. Yeah, it looks really nice. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get our code, and we'll get it on the page, and we'll get everything deployed. So the code for the button is really just this. I can probably figure this one out myself. So we want we want code. And we have to change this to and less than. And I don't think we need any spaces for that. Yeah. And I'll put a comment here that just says, this should be the last item in the DOM. Yeah, this should be the last item in the DOM. And then our JavaScript can be all of these things. So here is our chat with ChatGPT, helping with the formatting. Please format this JavaScript. All right. There it is. All right, let's go ahead and deploy this. And what changed? So we want to deploy our components folder, our day 14 folder, and our styles.css. I'm learning to do my commit afterwards so I know which things to deploy, and then I don't have to deploy everything or guess or miss something. Components, day 14, style.css, then we'll commit. Oh, Heidi. What you barking at? Let's see. Okay. I'll close these. JS and styles for scroll interactions. We should probably make sure I should probably make sure that I didn't break any of my other pages with that scrolling stuff, right? Yes, I think we're still okay. Probably a good idea to QA that stuff before we deploy, but okay, let's check our production site. I'm going to turn off live server. There we go. I really like that. Oh, what does it look like on mobile? Oops. Yeah, that looks good on mobile too. That's the exact same behavior on mobile. I got this cleaned up last night. I'm very happy with that. That didn't seem like it went all the way back up to the top. That's weird. Oh, that's pretty weird. Why is it doing that? It's not doing that on desktop, is it? See, we lost our cursor. Why don't I have a cursor? Or a pointer. The pointer isn't working. See? Why does it just stop working? Let's see here. Okay, it's working on this screen. Why doesn't the cursor work? I don't know. It works just fine here, but as soon as I move it to the screen, the pointer stops working. Right click and it should fix. Right click and it should fix it. I don't know why. Okay. What What was I even trying to figure out? Scroll interaction. See, the pointer just doesn't work sometimes when it's something about dragging it from my MacBook Pro up here that the pointer just stops working. So I don't know why. Okay. Oh yeah, it's not working here. Look, on mobile. That's weird. Okay, now it's working. There, now it's working. Don't know why. Okay. So if we go all the way down to the bottom, so it's something specific to the mobile view. If we go to not mobile view and we go all the way down to the bottom, no, this isn't working either. Was it like that in the local environment? And we just missed it? Okay, so here's our local. Am I going insane? Why is that suddenly not working? Does it have something to do with Prism? I think it has something to do with Prism. But I don't know. That's the only thing that's different about the page. So let's take those out. Oh, really? Hang on. I'll do that. Okay, now we'll try it. No, it doesn't have anything to do with Prism. Does it have something to do with how I have this organized on the page? So I put this before this. Is that part of the problem? Really? I don't know. Does it matter what order these are in? Oh, there's something weird going on here. So does it have something to do with this? Because I feel like this was not happening before. Yeah, it does. So it has something to do. So it doesn't, is it the JavaScript or the styles? I don't think it would, like the top or the. Okay, so what here? So do we want to, maybe we can combine some of these things. Maybe we don't have to have separate. The instructions said separate the logic for the header and the back to top button so each piece is easier to reason about. So separate the logic. Does that mean separate functions, or could we just use both of these to do? So maybe instead of doing, yeah, hang on, we're gonna, so, hang on. So we're gonna check for, I feel like we need to check for the header or the button. Here's the logo. And maybe first we want to do anything over 50, add the body class. Anything over 100, remove this attribute. And then for everything else, we do the else stuff. So this would be else if, and then this would be so I'm just going to do checking for the header. But I'm not sure if this is the right way to do that. I'm sure ChatGPT will let me know. Okay. But also maybe once this condition is met, it's going to stop, though, is the problem. That's not what we want. We want both. Which makes me think that but I don't know if this is just the same. I don't know if this is the same problem in a different package. But I think we have to have two if statements. We have to do both things. Yeah. It's the same problem in a new package, in a more efficient package. So this right here, it's like the top is not, so why do I feel like this is every 50 pixels, like it's small steps? Does it matter? I mean, logically, this doesn't make sense. I would want to put the smaller number first, but doesn't seem to matter. I don't think the event listener has to come first because you have to have scrolled before you got this far. And I don't think the event listener, I don't think the button event listener needs to be inside of the window event listener. I think these are two separate things. Are we ready to ask for help? Maybe the click event in the scroll event. I just don't understand why. Okay, but why? That fixed it, but I don't understand why. Okay, so I'm going to ask ChatGPT to look at this and just explain this logic to me because I don't understand why the button click event has to be inside the scroll event logic. Okay, the back to top button only works when it's inside the scroll event. Without the header class toggle, it works outside the scroll event. But with the header class toggle, it needs to be inside. Why? Poor K. ChatGPT is good at explaining, teaching, right? Let's see. It does not need to be inside the scroll event. What's happening is that your current code is attaching the click handler every single time the page scrolls. Because that line is inside window add event listener scroll. So if the user scrolls 200 times, you've added 200 click listeners to the same button. That means the button only gets its click behavior after a scroll has happened. The listener is being added over and over. It can start behaving strangely because multiple handlers are stacking up. The header class toggle is not the reason, it's just making the timing of your code more obvious. Why it may seem like it only works inside the scroll event, because the button is hidden until the scroll position is greater than 100. So when you scroll, two things happen. The button becomes visible, the click handler gets attached. That can make it look like the click code belongs there, but it doesn't. What should be inside versus outside? Inside scroll, things that must update continuously based on scroll position, header, class toggle, show hide button. Outside, one-time setup click listener. Okay, ChatGPT keeps telling me not to include this empty string, and there is a console log error every single time I omit it. So, and I've told it that. Okay, first of all, I do need the empty string, or there's an error in the console. I've literally told you that 100 times. Stop reminding me of something you are getting wrong. Second of all, that button does not work outside the scroll event. When it's clicked, it only scrolls 100 pixels, I think, at a time. I have to click it several times to get it back to the top of the page. Okay, when you click the button, this runs immediately. Windows scroll to top, zero behavior, smooth, logo focus. So the browser starts a smooth scroll to the top, then immediately moves focus to the logo link. Moving focus can trigger its own scroll behavior. If that focused element is in a sticky header affected by your if that focused element is in a sticky header affected by your scroll active class or not fully in the viewport yet, the browser can keep adjusting the page position while the smooth scroll is happening. That is exactly the kind of thing that can create the "it only moves a chunk at a time" feeling. Got it. Okay, that makes sense to me. Why it seems tied to the scroll event. Yeah, because your header is changing state during the scroll. If that class changes header height, position, transform, spacing, or anything layout related, then focusing the logo while the page is still animating upward can interfere with the scroll destination. So the likely problem is not where the click listener is attached. The likely problem is smooth scroll starts, header state is changing during scroll, logo focus fires too soon, browser keeps recalculating where to place the viewport. Remove the focus line entirely and test it. If that suddenly works perfectly, then logo focus is the culprit. Yeah, set timeout. We'll do a set timeout for the logo focus. Let's test this. Okay, and we'll go ahead and test this as well. The remove attribute. I'll take it off. I know on set attribute, if I don't have it, I will get an error. Okay, fine. For the love of the traveling Mary, I get it. Okay, it was the focus. It was the focus. You know what though? This doesn't hurt anything and it makes me feel good. It's staying. So, okay. So let's just do a set timeout for the logo focus. We know how to do that. So we'll do a set timeout of 500, like a half a second, and we'll see how this works. Look at that. Still a little jumpy, so we just need to adjust this, right? So we'll make it a second. That's okay. We can put a delay on that focus. That's no problem, right? There it is. Am I supposed to use the scroll end? I like this. I like the set timeout. I'm good with that. And we have a pretty long page here, right? I like it. I'm just going to say adjust as needed. What do we think? I'm going to rename this. Scroll inter actions. Scroll end. Okay. The scroll end event fires when element scrolling has completed. Scrolling is considered, okay, that's fair. And then we wouldn't have to adjust the timing for the length of the page. So would we put that inside here? Add event listener, scroll end event. Div scroll box. So the thing that's getting the listener is the window. Would it be window? And we would probably have to do it inside this, right? So it would be window, add event listener. Oh, and we need to take this out. We need to take this out. That's still inside. Doesn't need to be inside. Yes. Good one. Here. Nice. Good suggestion from Nano Akia. Love that. It is better because then we don't have to guess at timing for the length of the page, right? So yeah, that I agree that that's a better approach. So wait for the scroll to finish. Love it. Okay. I love it. So let's reformat our JavaScript. Let's see here. One moment while I get into that window. Okay. Please format this JavaScript. I love it. There you go. That's how you fix bugs, I guess, right? You got to test. You got to test. Yeah, exactly. Why didn't she suggest that? Let me get back to that screen. I used another event listener scroll end so I don't have to guess at timing if it's a really long page. Yeah, we found out that it was a much better solution. Scroll end is the right idea here because you're not guessing with set timeout and you're not trying to focus the logo while the page is still moving. You know, are there any if for I haven't had it I don't have people challenge me on, AI very often. Every once in a while someone's like, aren't you afraid of being replaced, or aren't you worried, or and those are, I'm not criticizing people asking those questions at all. I absolutely understand why people wonder about that or think about that. Oh, and here they have it outside of the button event listener. Or even better, only focus after this interaction triggered the scroll so it doesn't run after every random scroll ending on the page. That's a good point. So should focus logo equals true if show focus logo return. Okay, this is fair. Here, we'll update this. This seems like a good idea to me. Hang on. I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts that I would like to share. I'm going to take this out, this event listener. This can be on its own. And then all right, I will. Let me just open up a new window here so I don't have to keep going back and forth. Okay. Hello. Please format again. Third time's a charm. Okay, what was I saying? I totally get why developers are worried about AI. Absolutely understand that. If you're really, really using it though, hopefully it seems kind of obvious that right now AI is not ready to take over for anything. It's a tool, it's a helpful tool. It definitely gets stuff wrong. Um, this is why I'm not worried. This is why I'm not worried. Okay? Yes, it has made my life better. It has made so many things easier. It's a great teacher, it's a great tool. It's not taking over anything. All right, now we have a little more focused logic here. Let's actually make sure that this works since we pulled this window event listener out of this one. Well, this is a really good one today, wasn't it? Oh, not working. Do we have anything? Our console. Yeah, what's going on in the console? What the heck? Oh, did I miss like a let or something? Yes, right here. Okay, let me get this added to our markup. Our spaces. All right, let's get this deployed because I definitely want to check and make sure that this is working on our production site before we wrap it up. Here it is. We're fixing bugs, right? We're fixing bugs. This is how, hopefully you guys do this too, right? Sometimes it's like an afterthought. It's like, oh, I'll just take a look. I'll just quick check. I'll just check and confirm what I already believe is going to be true. Boom, broken. All right, so components and day 14. And then we will commit. Okay, I'm going to turn off live server. We have a pointer. Hallelujah. Nice. Yeah. I am going to add this to the full site. Yeah, I'm going to do some refactoring. I don't have time to do it today. I have something else I'm working on. But I am going to do some refactoring, and I will absolutely add this to the full site because I do really like that sort of delayed animation with the header. I think that looks really cool, and I've done that before on other projects. I've used Intersection Observer, um, but this is obviously I think this is more of an OG method, right? And I love our this little scroll to top button. It's super cute, and we made it accessible. This is such a fun little website. I like it a lot. Let's see here. We all learned more today than we knew yesterday, and we'll learn more tomorrow than we did today. So much fun. I agree. And I just love you guys so much for being here and hanging out with me. Guards are good and important, but GPT suggests them too often to learners. Oh, interesting. Interesting. To me, it's like a fancy if statement. I know it's not the same as an if statement, but I kind of like them. So Osloy is here, caught the end. I don't always deploy, but when I do it with FileZilla. You know, I just started using FileZilla in the last few months after a decade of rsync. And I only decided to crack open FileZilla because I started doing more deployment content. And the first deployment video I did was with rsync. And I did not know that you couldn't do rsync on a Windows machine unless you had like a Linux terminal command line thing. I think it's WSL, something like that. I didn't know that. So I started using FileZilla, and I was like, dang, this is so easy. No back end. No, you don't have to run anything. You just drag and drop your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's so stinking easy. And NanoKey had checked it in Firefox as well. So, yes, go Elmo, go. So I'll have to go and put some chapters in this one. So I don't even know what time it was, but all of a sudden we were maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes in, and the fire alarms in my building went off. And for me, it's really loud. I don't know what it sounded like on your guys' end. For me, it was really loud. So Heidi and I left the stream going, and Heidi and I, thank God the weather is nice. We went outside, hung out with the rest of the residents in this building, and we just waited for the St. Paul Fire Department to come. They're only like a mile down the street. I live in downtown St. Paul. It's a very small city. St. Paul Fire Department came and cleared everything and turned off the alarms. I think we were outside for maybe 10 minutes. Yeah, so I've been waiting for something like that to happen. So for those of you who hung out and waited, I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, this was a good one. So tomorrow, so I feel like I'm equipped to deal with tomorrow's task, which is day 15, the scroll progress indicator. So this is build a scroll progress indicator that calculates how far down the page the user has scrolled and updates a progress bar in real time. I feel like we are equipped to take this on. The focus is reading current scroll position, measuring document height versus viewport height, basic math for percentage calculation, updating a visual element based on derived state, listening to the scroll event. Nice extras are make the bar fixed to the top of the viewport, animate width changes smoothly with CSS, keep the indicator visible but subtle, use a CSS custom property instead of inline width if you want a cleaner styling hook. I do. Add a percentage label if you want a more obvious visual. Reset correctly when the user returns to the top. Only initialize if the progress element exists. So our MDN prep is scroll Y, scroll height, inner height, math min, math max. So that's going to be our task for tomorrow. Heidi did it. She wanted some fresh air. It was loud on your end too. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it was wild. Like I said, oh my gosh, I'm just so grateful that it's not like 20 below zero. It's actually nice weather. So, all right. Just a reminder, if you didn't already know, today was day 14 of the 30 days of vanilla JavaScript, and it went swimmingly. I learned a lot today too. I don't mean to get like existential or dramatic, but this has been a transformational couple of weeks for me. I wish I had done it sooner. I try not to think too much about things that I wish I had done sooner because I would just spend all my time, curled up in a ball crying if I did that. Just be happy that we're doing it now. We're moving forward. So come back tomorrow for day 15. And hey, do me a favor. If you haven't already liked the video yet, would you be so kind as to do that? It helps the algorithm. It helps get this content pushed out to more people who might be interested in this type of thing. Subscribe if you're not already. I'm here. If I'm not doing a 30-day sprint, I'm generally here 4 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Don't be shocked if you come at 10:30 and you see that it's been changed to 10:45. Sometimes I need a few extra minutes, but mostly I'm here at 10:30. So there's that. Okay, everybody, have a great rest of your day wherever you are. I love you all. I do. I love you all. This was super fun today, and I will see you tomorrow. Mwah. Bye.